Always like to start things off with a little bit of an icebreaker, maybe just to greet everyone in a couple of languages. Sanbonani, Dumelang, Absheni, Goeiedag, and good afternoon. Thank you so much for making time to join us. It is a very interesting Friday afternoon because finally we can say that boxing is back, and indeed it is back with a bang. In terms of Shireen Hunter, her comeback plans are really in full force. It is the official media launch of the Unleashed Combat Sport events. And of course, it is the first a post-pandemic boxing tournament that is going to be held right here in the South African Broadcasting Corporation's headquarters, the SABC, in just 9 days' time on the 17th of July at the Renaissance Room, and it will be from 2 p.m. The exciting news is that the events will be broadcast live on the SABC Sport DTT channels, OpenView channel 1 to 4, and can be streamed on Telkom 1. And of course, for the main bout, that one is also going to be brought up from Shireen in just a few minutes' time. Why this, in terms of why you decided, to bring this to the SABC. We were looking at a flyer not too long ago. The last time we actually broadcast in terms of the SABC was on the 17th of September in 2000. So it marks exactly 22 years since the SABC will be able to broadcast this boxing tournament. So in terms of the day itself, it is on the 17th of July, which is just a day before the highly celebrated and commemorated birthday of the later statesman of Nelson Mandela. And the reason why also that Unleashed Combat Sports events is going to be taking place is really to unify South Africans through the sport that Nelson Mandela really loved, and which is boxing. Initially, there were supposed to be 8 exciting bouts of 52 rounds, but now we will have the 46, and it will be 7 bouts, and that's because Tristan Truter, unfortunately, has injured himself. But now I want us to get through the proceedings and start off with welcoming our dignitaries. I don't know if this will be too much to ask, but maybe if you can just stand up, so that the room can welcome you nicely, give you a nice round of applause, and that everyone that is watching this and streaming it will know who we are talking about. We'll start things off with the Department of Correctional Services Executive Committee, Mono Kutsia, who is in charge of media and communication at Yoko Prison. Maybe if you can just, there we go, a round of applause. Joining us also is Mr. Maliza, the Divisional Head for Formal Education and Recreation. Maybe if you can also just stand up and we can give you, not here. All right, so in our absence, we do give him a round of applause. And from Education, Mr. Matlaba, is Mr. Matlaba with us? There we go. Such a tournament, such an event cannot take place without strategic partners who are part and parcel of such an event. And of course, one of those is Miss Joan Sainsbury from Rotary International Academy. There she is. Another strategic partner, Andy Scott from Drivetrain. Shoen, I know, is also here from Damascus Sport. And Peters as well, from Peters T-shirts, Anthony and Peter Cox. I saw him walking around, greeting everyone with a very huge smile on his face. That's the chairman of the Gauteng Boxing Promoters Association, Tshele Kometsi. We also do welcome the boxing officials who are joining us online. I know with Zoom nowadays, we can raise our hands and show some sort of support. So we do welcome you to the proceedings. This is the part where I now hand over the mic to the promoter of the Unleashed Combat Sport, that is Shireen Hunter.
Thank you, Zoli. I mean, it's just actually such an honor and a privilege to be able to stand here again. You know, the last 2 years have been exceptionally tough for anybody who has a license to be a promoter. I've watched how everybody's come and tried to do their best, because when promoters are not promoting, obviously boxers are not fighting. And it really does affect lives and livelihoods. So the more promoters we have that get the support that they require, whether it's private or public, the better for boxing in South Africa. My journey has always been a little bit different in that I've always relied completely on funding. When Lionel was still alive, we funded purely out of our own pockets for as long as what we were promoting. And then obviously we had some strategic partners that did invest and help us along the way, but it makes it tough. And so we went into lockdown, and by and large, you know, it brought boxing to its knees, along with a lot of other sports codes. And I think what we see today in a post-COVID pandemic is really those who have been able to weather the storm. And so before I celebrate any success of Unleashed today, really stepping back into the game, I'd like us to just put our hands together for all the promoters that stuck it out and really gave their best and pulled through the COVID pandemic. I obviously needed to make a decision when we went into lockdown about the way that I would approach boxing going into the future. And obviously the outlier was that I had a husband who was terminally ill, and compounded with that obviously was lockdown. But I think we had a conversation before he passed away about the future of Unleashed. And I published recently a quote that he said, "Never ever throw in the towel." And I think that is really the foundation on what Unleashed is built on. It's how the guys were coached and the ladies that came into the stables when it started. And it's the same principle today. Never ever throw in the towel. And I think South Africans are extremely resilient in that space, as have been the boxers who've been able to stay in boxing, some of them not fighting at all in the last 2 years. That's tough because many of them rely exclusively on boxing for their income. Having said that, today I'm really the product of collective work and unity in our province. And so I wave the Gauteng banner very high this morning, because there is no way that I would have come to this point had I decided to try be clever on my own, to try and do it on my own. I certainly needed the support of those who had gone before me in boxing to teach me the ropes as a promoter, as a single lady, breadwinner, a single mom. I needed help. And I think if I look back now, and I've been thinking about it a lot over the last couple of weeks, I don't know where God gave me the wisdom, but he really did give me the wisdom to realize that I couldn't do it on my own. And I think as much as what I love to blow the vuvuzela in terms of the empowerment of women in boxing, I can tell you there's no way that you will be empowered as a woman if you don't have the respect and the trust of the men that you work with. And so I've worked very hard to earn my stripes in boxing and to be able to get through to the other side. And I'd like to recognize and thank the Gauteng Boxing Promoters Association under the leadership of Tsele Committee of really supporting me and teaching me the ropes because I'm really the product of that. Bongani has been amazing. I always say he's my pastor in boxing. He's also our treasurer, very encouraging. Obed and Pat Malekwa have really kept me in the game when I felt many times like I wanted to give up. And our chairman is correction all the way, correction, and I hated it. Gave him a very hard time over the last 2 years, but for some other reason, I think he also kind of thought, okay, maybe she can do it. And then obviously the strategic partners that we have, Brian, not Peter, Brian, and Anthony. I mean, you've been faithful to Unleash since we started. Brian and Anthony are hosting this evening a dinner for sponsors at the Saxon Hotel, exclusively for sponsors to be able to talk to and connect with each other so that they can leverage and get the best out of boxing going forward. And then Drivetrain, a sister company to RDG, welcome Warwick and Andy. They are sponsoring a boxing clinic that is happening on Monday. So there's a lot happening. It's not just the event that's happening on Sunday. We have a whole week of events through Unleashed that are happening leading up to the main event, which is happening on Sunday. Nick Lawrence, you are so faithful. Thank you for sponsoring your photographs and your media. You've been amazing. And then I'm sure there are a lot of people asking, what is the Department of Correctional Services doing at a media launch? Well, we have a very exciting project that we're launching through Unleashed, partnering with Rotary International. Joan, who's here with us today, is head of that Academy of Rotary International. She's been working very, very hard in Leeuwkop prison, rehabilitating offenders. And I've taken hands with her. I'm a Rotarian, she's a Rotarian. We've taken hands through Unleashed, and we are going to be refurbishing the gym in Leeuwkop prison. Yeah, it's amazing. Amazing, amazing project. And Damascus Sports have partnered with us on that project. So we're starting off with Leeuwkop, but the vision is to mobilize resources to be able to refurbish all the gyms in all the prisons in South Africa, so that while offenders are being rehabilitated, that they can actually train and exercise, healthy body, healthy mind. I think it's vitally, vitally important. And one of my good friends that I've made in boxing over the last 4 or 5 years, Luyanda Kane, is testimony to that. He will be joining us in that project as well as an advocate and a spokesperson, someone who served as a political prisoner, but who himself was a coach inside the prisons and actually made champions out of those offenders that were in the prison that have so much potential, but they just need somebody to believe in them and to steer them and guide them. And that's very, very close to my heart. We also will be having a workshop this week. It's open. Because for me, when it comes to sports and it comes to the business sport, there are no competitors, we are collaborators. I think vitally important that we work together. We will be having a workshop about how to pitch for sponsorship, because the huge challenge that we have in boxing in South Africa at the moment is a lack of funding and finance. And so I want to take whatever I've learned in the last 25 years and I want to share it with other promoters, and I want to share it with the boxers, I want to share it with the coaches, I want to share it with managers and say, this is how you pitch for sponsorship so that we can all be successful. It doesn't help if only 1 or 2 or 3 promoters are successful. That's really just monopolizing the game of boxing. We need to empower and equip each other and help each other so that South African boxing wins. It's wonderful that we're doing well in Gauteng. I'm very, very proud of it. But I think the end result must be that all provinces are thriving in this way. And the only way that we're going to do that is if we work together and if we collaborate and help each other. And then finally, I must acknowledge SABC Sports, who have been absolutely maverick in the space of boxing. They have taken pole position, in my humble opinion, with regards to professional boxing space. We've seen those dates coming through more and more and more and more, which means more promoters get opportunities to get broadcasting. And then obviously when you've got broadcasting, then getting decent sponsorship is so much easier. So kudos to SABC Sport for everything that they have done to really not just bring boxing back, but put boxing back onto digital space and also onto television. I'm very proud our main bout, and I'm sure Dr. Ngitani will talk a little bit more about it, is a boxer that actually comes out of the original Unleashed stables, Jackson Masamba from the DRC. Good morning, Jackson. Very happy to have you there representing. And it's also very tough because I'm very proudly and patriotic about South Africa, and he's challenging our current champion, Luvuyo Sezani, who carries the belt for South Africa. The SADC ABU belt. So that's going to be a very difficult fight for me to watch. Fighting for South Africa or shouting for South Africa, and also, shouting for someone who's out of Unleashed. But, may the best man win. We are all African at the end of the day. And thank you so much, Dr. Ngitani, for sanctioning the fight and for allowing me to work with the ABU. It's a huge milestone for me. So thank you very much. I think that's it from my side. I hope I haven't left anybody out. Thank you. We've got an amazing turnout today. Thank you for supporting us, media. We appreciate you. We need you. As promoters, we need media. Without media, we're dead in the water. So thank you so much from all the different media houses that have attended. I really do appreciate it. And I hand the microphone back to you. Thank you, Zoli.
That was beautifully articulated, Shireen. Thank you so much. I think I speak for a lot of us when I say we cannot wait to see those refurbished gyms and renovated structures there at Leopold Prison. And it does answer quite a number of questions that we had about, the executive committee members that are here. The one thing that's important that Sharina said is that South African boxing must win. And I think this is really the first step and one of the biggest steps in us getting to that point. Not to hog the microphone and to now pass it on over to the African Boxing Union Vice President, and that is Dr. Ngatane.
Thank you very much, Dumela. Why you look so down? Good. Is it afternoon now? Yes, it's afternoon. You must know with these places, they fool you. You think you're still you walked in when it was morning. You still think it's morning. And thank you for a very eloquent oration by Mrs. Hunter. And I do believe at this point in time, we should remember and pay credit to Lionel Hunter. For those who know him, even for those who don't know him, will know him. Because they say he was a man of few words, more of action. And this is part of the action that never threw the towel. And I was very proud as I was telling you, Pete, that I walked with him in Mexico. Was it 2019? He was walking around, meeting all his idols, Don Kings, and all those promoters, Mayweathers, and the man who beat the year, and all Mike Tyson and Holyfield, all of them. He met them, and it was quite a jolly plan. And unknowing to us, it was his last journey out of the country, and I think when he passed away, he was a content man, and I would like to say thank you. Now, for the African Boxing Union, I know there will be doubts and other things with many people, but African Boxing Union, for whatever it's worth, is the only authentic African title in Africa. It's not an offshoot of any other body, this Africa. No, its executive and its people are Africans, and they are in Africa, and they are affiliated to the World Boxing Council. We form part of it. I sit in the board of governors of the World Boxing Council as ABU. So to have Jackson and Sizani fighting again is round number 2, eh? It's round number 2. When Sizani and Jackson fought, none of them was a champion. They fought, and it was a very good tournament. And Sizani came out the victor. And Unleashed gave Jackson an opportunity to say again, never throw in the towel. So he's here again to try and reclaim what used to be the vacant title that belongs now to Sizani. So in the light heavyweight, in South Africa, we are short of heavyweights, light heavyweights, because most of those guys who used to be heavyweights have been taken over by rugby. You've seen all those big guys and black guys in rugby now. They used to be in boxing. Now they are. But these are going to be the crown of the light heavyweight of SADC, because it's a regional title, and I think after this fight, whoever wins should be able to be looking forward to either the ABU big title or the WBC title, because that's a route that most of the and the important thing about the ABU route and things is that some of the people in South Africa who became great WBC champion. Tulani Sugar Boy Malinga was the first ABU champion in South Africa, and he became the first WBC champion. And we have several of our boxers who became ABU champions and who are WBC champions. But be it as it may, I would like to say for Unleash, there's something that makes me, that warms my heart, is your collaboration with correctional services through Rotary. Rotary is a very old, committed NGO. You go to mostly of the Kenya, Zambia, Zimbabwe, they're doing great work. It's probably in South Africa that we don't know much. So as boxing, and especially as ABU, we're very proud that we are associated, especially with the prison services. If you cast your mind back, people like David Isaacs there sitting, if they can cast your mind back, most of the international world heavyweight champions and champions in the world had been in prison, and they started training in prison. The mistake that was done in South Africa was that prisons was excluded out of boxing, because it will say if you have a prison record, you should not be able to participate. That's why we had an organization that was fighting for the democratization thereof. And as of we talk now, prisons, anyone in prison who is eligible to become a boxer and can become a professional. We have one, Kunet, in Cape Town, trained in prison, started fighting for the South African title. So thankfully, we have people like Unleash who are able to take that mantle, because without them, it can only be talk that prisoners will be allowed to rehabilitate through sport. Because sport can do, as Mandela say, sport is a unifier. It can create opportunities. It can do. So I'm very happy and very glad that we have the prison services. And some of those guys who went there is not things of their own doing. But if they're given opportunity, we never know. Some of them might end up being world champion through the route that has been brought about by Unleash. And for that, I'm quite proud and I'm very happy. And I believe Boxing South Africa, its executive, wherever they are, they should be very happy. I'm speaking as a past chairman of Boxing South Africa, and I've handed over the reins to a capable team, and I hope they will support you in this thing. And as ABU, I would like to pledge ourselves in working with you in making sure that rehabilitation happens in prison. And lastly, before I bore everyone, you mentioned something that you were happy that we have a thing called the Gauteng Boxing Promotion. I think Gauteng showed the way. In other provinces, it's seldom that promoters want to work together unless they want to fight each other for different reasons. They never want to come and work together. And I think Gauteng promoters show the way that even though they are competitors to each other in the same field, they're able to can share and work together to uplift each other. And for that, and thank you very much.
Thank you. I think it's safe to say, Dr. Ratadi, you would never bore us. If we didn't have any time constraints, you would be able to go on till the evening. We wouldn't mind. And, just as you alluded to the Gauteng Boxing Promoters Association just a few weeks ago, we're with the TK at Uncle Tom's Hall in Orlando West, staging very exciting bouts and really an exciting tournament it was. It was also broadcast on the SABC, and I think it's also a testament of how the SABC sport is determined to make sure that boxing is really part and parcel of the offering that is shown to South Africans, Africans and the world. So just in terms of speaking about the Gauteng Boxing Promoters Association, we'll now bring on the chairperson, Mr. TK.
Thank you, Colleen. Let me greet everyone in the room here. And let me start by thanking the sponsors, Drivetrain, Peter's T-shirt, Damascus. Let me thank Joan and colleagues. Let me thank Dr. Natani, ABU. Let me thank SABC board, in particular, SABC board and executive, in particular, Mr. Gary Rathbone, Mr. Lebete Orapeling, Ruby Kandir and Melinda. Let me also thank all media houses, print and electronic, boxers and trainers. Mrs. Hunter, before I knew you, I had already known your husband Lionel, and I worked with him way long before you started joining us in boxing. And at some point when I started being a promoter, he was one of my favorite trainers that I gave an opportunity to stage when I staged tournaments. Shireen, thank you very much for bringing corporate sponsorship in the space of boxing. It's been very long that we have not been having corporate sponsorship. We had Old Park, we had the likes of King Kong, and I'm sure Dr. Matani can remind me, and a whole lot of them that were there. But you have shown us that there is an opportunity to go out there and get more sponsors, and I am hopeful that you're going to bring more of the sponsors in the boxing space. So I must thank you. And Shireen is the secretary of the association. And she's one person that would insist on doing the proposal. You would say, TK, you can't just go and ask somebody for money or sponsorship without a proposal. And I took a chance and wanted to do some proposal, and she came and said, see, exactly, give it to me, I'm a professional. She's a brand ambassador. So she had to do my proposals and the proposals of the association. When we started as the association, I remember at some point, we were somewhere in Randburg and it was the elections, and things did not go our way, and Shireen went out of that meeting crying. I said, no, Shireen, don't worry, it will be fine. Then we went on to, because we had already had plans to say where we want to take the association. Then we went to the second round of the elections, we won, and then we approached, in fact, before approaching the broadcaster, we went on a conference somewhere in, what's this place? Hartbeespoort. So when we went there, people thought, no, we're going to just use the association's money. And I said, where is this very association does not have the money. The money came from our pockets. We went and we did that. And then we came back, we applied, or we actually wrote a proposal to SABC. And SABC said, fine, we're giving you dates. Now the problem was, where was the money going to come from to do the tournament? That was our first tournament, ladies tournament or female tournament in August last year. Shireen had to sell her car to make possible that to make sure that tournament is happening. We did not have money. I put in money, Bongani put in money, and some few members of the association had put in money there. And that's where we started with the association. We had about 3 months not having paid, but we still had to go and get some money. At some point, we had to go borrow money, loan money from other people who are interested in boxing and wanting to see boxing grow. So the association is where it is today, and we are a non-profit company. There's a lot that we are doing as the executive of the association, and Shireen is one of those people. Shireen is doing the proposals for the association without charging us a penny. Shireen is driving around. We're using her boardroom as our head office. So there's a lot that Shireen has brought in on the table as a promoter and the secretary of the association. And Shireen, as the chairperson of the association, I want to thank you today and say thank you very much. You have brought again the private sector in the space. And for that, I think when I said to you, you are the queen of boxing, you say, no. But indeed, in my opinion, you are. And I would like to thank you, Mrs. Hunter. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, TK. That was very heartfelt. I think a lot of us here were getting emotional. You are indeed the queen of boxing. You know, the passion is what we can hear, especially when TK is speaking about the sacrifices that you've made, you know, some that we'll never know about, and some that have been exposed right here in this room. Thank you so much for doing such a stellar job. We love it when the podium is now taken upon by champions. And of course, the current ABU champion is also going to be giving us a word. Luvuyo Sizani, the platform is yours.
Molweni. Mna akhono ininzi endizoyithetha. I don't like to talk. You know, Masamba. Again, I will beat Masamba again. I will beat Masamba again. Still, Luvuyo Sizani. Still ABU champion. Yes. Masamba, they know me, Masamba. Now, they know me. I will beat you again. I will beat you again. Now, I will beat you again. Now, yeah. So thank you so much. And promoter, thank you so much. About 32K, thank you so much to give me the opportunity again. Yeah, Masamba.
I love that you are a man of few words because all the action is done in packing of the punches. But the few words that you did utter were Masama. I will beat you, Masama. And so now we need to hear a response from you in terms of being beaten. Is this something that we can expect to see on the 17th?
Hello, everybody. I like what Luvuyo Sizani talk. So, you know, me also, I can't talk too much. Me, the one is can talk too much is this one in the ring. So, but Vuyo Sinzani is a champion. Yes, I do respect, give too much respect, but he must respect me as well, because I fought him before. You know how powerful I am. He knows. Yeah. So you know me. So, but him also you know me. Yeah. The way you know me, him also you know me. So you must know I'll take that belt. In the name of Jesus, I'll take it that belt. So I'll become the new. Guys, the new is here. So I don't want to talk too much. We just see on the ring on 17 July. We see what's gonna happen there. So yeah, I'm too much happy to see the champion is coming. Now he's coming. So on 29 he was not coming. I was sad, I was even sick. So I was worried too much. But they say it's COVID, whatever. I don't know if maybe it's politics for him, I don't know. But you must know, hey, El Jaguar is coming back again. Yeah, I'm El Jaguar. You know El Jaguar. You know I'm El Jaguar. So he's a champion. I gave it too much respect. He must respect me also. Because he fought El Jaguar. Now I'm not like before. I know. Maybe read me, check me the way I was fighting before with him. You think maybe I'm the same person, but I'm not. Yeah, I'll show him something new in the ring. So I thank you, everybody. I thank Alish. I thank everybody here in the promoter ticket, everyone here. Some I forgot the name, so sorry, but I thank everybody. So for me, I'm too much happy. I'm too much happy because I was waiting that fight to come. So now I get opportunity again. So that opportunity, I don't want to leave that belt to go back to East London. It's better he must knock me or I must knock him. Yeah. So I'm happy. Thank you, Chem, to come. Thank you so much. God bless. Thank you. So I thank everybody. So we see you on the 17th July at Jaguar fighting.
That sounds very exciting. The big question is, will the belt be going to the Eastern Cape or is it going to the Democratic Republic of Congo? I guess we'll find out in just 9 days' time. And of course, for those who will not be able to go to the Renaissance here at the SABC, it will be broadcast on SABC3. This is now an opportunity for all our media houses who are here in their numbers. The turnout really has been outstanding today to just pose questions. And also we do open the floor to the journalists who are joining us virtually. Maybe if you can just tell us which media house you're from and whom you're directing the question to, and we'll have a roving microphone just to get your questions. So we are now going to open up the floor to those questions.
Afternoon. My name is Sabelo Masinga from Singaline Online Magazine. So Unleashed has been in 2 years without action. For the first action, you brought this event together. In terms of the turnout, what did you expect in terms of numbers? And also, the second question is, it's so touching when you heard that you have to sell your car when there's too much money on football in this country. It's almost about 250 million on football. And when we've got a problem with other sports, what is your take on that? Thank you.
Thank you. Those are a good question. So, I mean, with regards to turnout, I mean, the first turnout is obviously the media launch, and I'm like, my heart is so touched today to see a room full of media, because it's a hybrid event. We are streaming it, but it is also just good to see the media coming on board, because let's face it, If the media don't support women in sport, we can write it off. It starts there. And I feel very blessed to be the owner of a brand management agency. So I understand the hook and the line of a story. I know what to give the media so that they do come. And it's a long-term relationship. That's an advantage for me as a promoter. I don't think many promoters in the space of boxing have their own brand management agency. So that's definitely an advantage, because remember, the relationships that I have with the media are not exclusive to boxing. The media know me in other spaces. I worked a lot in tourism and a lot in corporate South Africa. So fortunately, I've been able to lean in to the existing relationships that I have with media and invite them into boxing space and lean on those relationships. So I think that has helped. So the turnout, I'm ecstatic about the turnout. So firstly, thank you to the media that have shown up today and those that are watching virtually. I think when you talk about women in sport, this is where the rubber meets the road. I'm very determined to be a voice, not just for women in boxing, but for women in sport, and to go to corporate South Africa and use the medium as their platform to say, come on, guys, get behind us. There is no way that women in sport is going anywhere if we don't have the media support and if we don't have corporate South Africa taking a portion of that CSR budget and pointing it towards sport, number one. But also, I think what is equally important, and that's why I have a workshop during this week, it's not just about us as women going and asking for sponsorship. And I always say sponsorship is not a donation. If you go and ask a corporate for money, you must show them the value that you give them for the money that they are investing in your brand. And that conversation we need to have with women in sport and men, so that we can teach one another. I can take what I've learned and freely, gladly give it to you and say, let me show you how to position yourself so that you are successful in your bid, to show the value. Simple things like media monitoring and measuring your campaigns. Showing that ROI, because it's not enough to, and I feel very strongly about it, and that's why I never did it after my late husband passed away. I don't like leaning on, because I'm a woman, you have to help me. I hate that narrative. I want you to invest with me, Warwick, Andy, Brian, Anthony. I want you to invest in me because I'm a competent, capable woman in sport who can add value to your brand and deliver things in excellence. I'm not the only woman who can do that. There are many women in sport who can do that, but we need to make ourselves known. Takes a little bit of guts, takes a little bit of confidence. You've got to put yourself out there like what I'm doing today, and people have to at least know who you are and know that you know what you're doing. So I'm not going to stop banging on the door of corporate South Africa, challenging corporate companies to really come on board and get behind women in sport. But I'm also want to bang on the door of women in sport and say, come girls, let's sit around the table, equip ourselves, work together, collaborate, empower one another so that we can bring value to those brands that are investing in us. So I hope that answers your question. Why did I have to sell my car? Actually, you compromised me, TK. That's not a story I like to talk about, but I want to say something. If you love something, or if you love someone, you make sacrifices for that person or for that thing that you are passionate about. And there's no doubt that boxers, let's start there, make sacrifices every single day. They sell their stuff to buy supplements, to buy food, to buy boxing kits. I mean, they sell stuff. They work for very little money to be able to get through those. So they are making those sacrifices. I was married to a coach. I know coaches make sacrifices. They don't, they don't do this and they do that. They take boxing money. I mean, Lyle and I fought. We fought lots about that. Do this with your money with boxing instead of doing that. And, they make sacrifices. So at every level, I think we are misleading ourselves if we think people are not making sacrifices. Yes, I did sell my car. We needed the purse money. We didn't have sponsorship. And I didn't want to see the opportunity pass by because, once you disappoint the broadcaster, and I think that was where it started, is there was so much on the association succeeding. And all you need to do is fumble one tournament, not have the purse money, have to cancel the tournament, and there's your reputation. If you start cancelling tournaments as a promoter, it's like the beginning of the end, really. I'm also a huge advocate that you don't lend money to do sport. So I would rather liquidate an asset. Then we don't owe anybody anything. It's my money. I'm putting it in. I know the risk. I know I'm going to get my money out. Then going and borrowing, because I think you also lose a lot of credibility as a promoter, and you damage your reputation when you are borrowing money to do a tournament. So it was just, for me, it was a simple decision. You know, do you sell your car, take the cash and pay the purse, or do you go and borrow money to pay the purse? And I opted for sell the car. You know, I don't want to sell another car. So, no, but I would if I had to. You know, at the end of the day, I'm committed. I'm all in. And actually, Dr. Ngitsani, you spoke about that one day in Uncle Tom's Hall in Soweto. You know, you've got to be all in. If you're not all in, get all out. Don't sit on the fence and criticize other people when you have no idea what they're doing to get there. And I'm not talking about me. I'm talking across the board. Everybody in boxing, I would like to believe, is all in. These are flipping, fighting for your life in a ring. How much more all in can you be? So the coaches are all in, the managers are all in. As promoters, we're all making sacrifices to be all in. For me, it wasn't a difficult decision to make. I replaced my car. We got paid. It's not the end of the world. It's not something I'd even like to talk about, but I can tell you I'm not the only one sitting in this room who sold stuff to do stuff for boxing, because we love it. We love the sport. We love the people. We really do. Otherwise, we wouldn't do it.
Maybe just to open the floor once again for questions. If there aren't any virtually, all right. It means that everything has been explained nicely and in depth. You know, our lecturers always used to say that if there aren't any questions, it means I've explained everything perfectly. So before we then close proceedings, we are going to invite the strategic partners to at least give comments, words. Maybe let's start with Joanne. Would that be okay with you, Joan, to come through and just give a word?
Thank you. Excuse if I lose my voice because I'm recovering from flu. But when we had our chat, a casual chat about Lilkop's gymnasium, and it's been a bane in my life for 7 years. Every time I go in there and I see the equipment deteriorating, it was just something that you said, well, I think I can help there. And it snowballed. It's only been not even 2 or 3 weeks. And suddenly we are now on a big campaign to fix up the gym. The offenders have got word of it and they are so excited. Every time someone comes in, then it's all eyes and they just cannot wait. And I want to thank you very much for the opportunity, and I want to thank TK for coming through. And I want to thank you very much for coming to inspect our gym. Thank you. But we're looking forward to it. Thank you. Oh, sorry.
Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Thank you so much there to Joan Sainsbury. I'll invite now Andy Scott to come through.
Good morning, all. First thing I want to say that it's an absolute privilege that I've been asked and invited here today. I can attest to Shireen's persuasive way to get us involved. Traditionally, we are gearbox remanufacturers, drivetrain repairs, truck transmissions. So it's a little bit of a funny mix to be involved with boxing. But she's very persuasive. But what made me think about it is that it's an exciting new direction. It's not something that's been overplayed, if I can use that word, as in a football sponsorship or any of the other motor racing or anything else. This is something new and exciting, and I think the way that Shireen is going about it is actually very exciting from our point of view. It's a very new field for me. It's probably 60 years since I was boxed, so I've forgotten all about it. I believe even 60 years ago I got a hiding. So, but it's certainly a very exciting and new thing for us to do. And as I say, it's a privilege for us to be involved with it as Drivetrain, as a corporate partner with us. And we'll be working closely with Shireen in the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And maybe the strategic partners from Peter's T-shirts.
Thanks. Hi, everybody. Welcome and thanks for the invite, Shireen. You know, our relationship with Lionel and Shireen goes back some time, goes back a way. I think we were in it first, and we're here for the fight and the road. And myself and my son, we've always been involved in contact sports and sport as such. We've always supported cricket, the rugby, but most so boxing. You know, Lionel came into my office the first time when he wanted to get it started. And he sat down and he said, "I've come for a cup of coffee." I said, "Oh, really? I don't think so, Lionel. I think you've come for something else." He said, "Yes, I want sponsorship." So I said, "And if I don't give it?" He says, "Well, I can always close the door and we can talk about it." You don't talk to Lionel like that. And it was great. And we've always had a great relationship. Shireen is an unbelievable person. She sails the wind, and you don't say no. And we certainly won't say no. We're in it to win it, and we're going to go all the way with you. And thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you so much. Shireen, with your permission, can we close things off? Okay. Oh, okay. All right. Okay, brilliant. Oh, that's it. Okay. No, no worries. Maybe just as Luvuyo Sizane, the champion. Oh, Damascus. Okay.
Oh, you can smile, Susan.
It's all smiles just for now. In the boxing ring, it will be different altogether.
Can I ask?
Yeah, just go inside. Don't go inside.
I'm the photographer.
They're smiling.
For now.
Ah, Masamba. Ah.
Oh, John, why are you running away?
Please come, guys.
What do you call it? Father and mother. You know, father and mother. Yes. That's piece of it I do.
There was some smile, eh?
I think maybe just as the photo shoot opportunities are underway, just to remind you of the bouts that will be taking place in the cruiserweight. There'll be 4 rounds. Dunisani Matebula from Gauteng will be up against Jonathan Sam. And in the bantamweight, also 4 rounds, Mandla Simanga up against Ndoisile Blow. And of course, in the junior welterweight of 4 rounds, Jabulo Mhlungu from Gauteng will be up against Christopher Golding. And it will see Julian Cook of Gauteng taking on Tuvia Wewege of cruiserweight in the 6 rounds. And in the junior welterweight of 8 rounds, Sivenati Nolau up against Dennis Mwale. The catchweight, 57.5 kilograms of 10 rounds, Lerato Dlamini up against the Western Cape's Toto Helebe. And of course, the main bout that we'll all be looking forward to, the ABU SADC title, lightweight heavyweight of 10 rounds, Luvuyo Sizani, the champion, up against Jackson Masamba, the challenger. And just to remind also the media houses that are here that there will be an opportunity for one-on-one interviews just after this. You can hang around. Unleashed has also made sure that there will be a light lunch that will be offered to everyone in attendance. But before we leave, Sherwin, yes, Sherwin from Damascus, please. We have to get a word from Sherwin.
There can't be boxers without a glove.
Thank you very much. Didn't quite put my hat on or cap on so we can represent. It's indeed a privilege to be part of this week-long event or 10 days of marketing, collaboration, networking, development, and as a business, as Damascus Sport, in particular Damascus Boxing, part of our mission has been to make an impact in the sport of boxing, primarily through the provision of good quality equipment. And that equipment reaches far further than just the equipment that you'll see in the gym, in particular for the equipment that you'll find in a boxing ring. And I think that's a platform that sponsors, investors, people that want to extract value, want to see represented in the most sophisticated way possible. And I think for a long time that's been neglected. And as a manufacturer, we saw an opportunity to make a significant and lasting impact. So through the provisions of just creative ways in which we represent brands on rope covers and corner cushions and canvases, just bringing in a level of excellence and sophistication to it, we do believe that we've made a significant impact already. And we hope that we've raised the bar for others in the industry to start looking at this as an opportunity for them to show their excellence, show their ability and shine. And we believe that we've raised the bar and that the industry as a whole has now benefited. And we're glad that we are able to not only get get an opportunity to get involved on the premium competition level, but also on the grassroots level. And I think the opportunity with Liuka Prison is quite apt, and the rehabilitation of prisoners is ultimately a metaphor of the Damascus Road experience, where Saul was on a journey of destruction, and when he saw this bright light and fell off his horse and changed from his evil ways, and ultimately became one of the most significant people in the world. And much of our values and morality are based on some of his teachings and his letters and the wisdom that he imparted to the world. And I think an opportunity for us to work with rehabilitation of prisoners is just a testament and is just an extension of that metaphor. So thank you much, Shireen, for this opportunity to partner with your extensive network. And I think the collaborations are so important for us to be able to use our abilities, our skills, our values, and the blessings that we've had from others to be able to pass that on, to teach, to mentor, and to learn from each other. So thank you very much. We wish you all the very best. All the collaborators involved here, we wish you all the best. We wish you that all the expectations that you've had out of this will be meted and be met, and that we'll have a successful event. All the best.
We shall ordain you as pastor now.
Thank you so much. Once again, a reminder that all the action is happening on the 17th of July from 2 p.m. right here from the SABC headquarters, the Renaissance Center. And of course, it will be broadcast on the SABC Sports DTT channels, on OpenView channel 124, and it can be streamed on Telkom 1. The main bout will be broadcast on S3. Thank you and enjoy your light lunch. It's been such an honor facilitating the official media launch for Unleashed. I am Xobi Zondo.